Right here we are, guys. Hole number 6 here. Now, with the Thor's Hammer 4, we're at 229 power, so I'm, half tempted to maybe throw on a Berserker here. Otherwise, if you have, and this is one of the holes that I was mentioning about the advantage. Guys with a POC 5, a POC 6, a POC 7, they're going to really be able to get this up there by the green every time. So you similarly need to also find a way to go about doing that. So I just want to take a look here at Berserker Ball and see if I can't get this to land up on that last fairway. I know it's going to be close, but I don't know how close. But that's the kind of thing that you're going to need to do to compete with those guys, especially if you want to try to win. And as I was mentioning, the difference between Master and Expert in this one, it's a little bit more favorable, in my opinion, to go Master with weaker clubs. It's very much set up for weaker clubs to still be able to kind of get up to at least similar spots. And here you can see, Thor 4, for instance, I'm really testing my limit. So if this makes it to that fairway, it's by a centimeter. And I really don't think that I have the top spin to even, get this to do what I want it to do, even if I do get this to land there. So we'll try it. I'll try to land it on the front of that fairway, see how this turns out. Well, I'm not expecting much here. I did hit a perfect ball. I had no idea what spin to put on this. But, this again just kind of speaks volumes, because I think in a POC 6, 6 spin, especially if they put on a Berserker Ball, they won't even have to land it where I did. They could land it way up here and keep it and hop it over this rock formation here and just keep it out to this left-hand side a little bit for a straight tailwind pitch. It's going to be a very, very, very makeable hole for Apocalypse guys with a POC 5, a POC 6, a POC 7. So if you're talking about having weaker clubs, really taking the step in this tournament to the Master level is a very good move, in my opinion. Because you don't want to be competing against, you see where I am. I was pretty much maxing out, and you can see where I am. And if I have to play against guys who are right here every time that they play this hole, I'm really putting myself at a disadvantage. And it won't be like that in Masters. You can't guarantee that you're going to hit a money shot on this hole in Masters. However, in Expert, you kind of can. It's going to be very, very easy for you to pull this one off. So let's take a look here. So what I'm thinking is somewhere in the neighborhood of, I think I'm about maybe 2.5 per ring, 4-ish rings, somewhere in there. So the great ball's probably going to push it out towards the middle of the green. I might have been slightly overplaying it, just slightly. So from that spot, maybe, 2.75 per ring, somewhere in there. Might have been a little bit better. I am playing a replay. I don't think there's really anything we're going to learn from this guy's shot. So I'd really just like to essentially just forfeit this out. But I guess just let it come up. But good luck with this hole. As I mentioned, you really, really are putting yourself in a tough territory if you're playing weak clubs in this Expert. And, it's more so the fact that, those guys with a POC 5 and a POC 6, they're just going to be able to get it every time on 1, 6, and 8. Every time they're just going to get those holes. So, definitely something to be thinking about. You really just don't want to kind of put yourself in that competition unless you have the clubs to do so. And, it's kind of the catch-22 a little bit, because if they have those clubs, they really shouldn't be an expert anyway, but they are. So, you know, they're afraid to bump it up to Masters, so, or whatever. You know, there's no reason to sandbag an expert anymore. The rewards are worse. You know, you don't get the better chess. In Masters, you know, you'll get the Tour 4, Tour 5, Tour 6, Tour 7 clubs every time. There's pretty much no exception. Whereas with expert, even if you win, you know, you'll get, you know, Kingfisher half the time in your chess. But additionally to that, you know, clan points, you know, top 23 in Masters gets an expert first or higher. So there's really no reason to even play expert anymore. And couple that on the fact with this tournament, you know, you really don't want to have weaker clubs in expert this go around because of the opportunities that they basically created. They created a distinct advantage for very strong clubs to easily get these holes for whatever reason. You know, they've been taking it out of the game, but, you know, for whatever reason, they're bringing it back in, and there's a lot more tailwind holes than there used to be. You know, there was a good 3 or 4 months where we didn't play tailwind holes really at all, and now all of a sudden it's every time. Like, they're all drivable holes. I don't know what is causing it, who they're getting the advice to do that from, but they shouldn't be listening to them, whoever it is. So, you know, keep that in mind. If you're contemplating bumping up, you know, I do think that this is a tournament that it's a lot more favorable to take your chances in Masters. So, good luck, and I'll see you guys on the next hole.